Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today I'll be going over Branded Lair of Darkness. Now this is, I guess not weird at all, this is totally something you would expect to see from my channel. So, but it's weird because I didn't originally want this deck to be Lair of Darkness at all. Originally what I was trying to do is I was just testing a bunch of branded variants. But what I came to the realization really quickly is none of them had any actual advantage over pure branded outside of, like, one. And that was Eldritch. And that was only because, okay, you could also just play Floodgates and whatnot. But, like, trying to do a Predaplant branded, like, it was just a more combo but more fragile version of that deck, and combining it with other things didn't really do much of anything because you were just going into the exact same place over and over again. So I was thinking maybe just, like, there's no point in trying to make a variant outside of branded. But then I was like, okay, I'm frustrated. Going to go work on Lair of Darkness, my pet deck, and what I discovered is Branded Fusion. This is like one of the only decks of all my testing that it had unique applications in this deck exclusive to this deck, and that was kind of funny. So originally, this was not meant to be a Lair of Darkness deck profile at all, it just so happened to do so. But we'll get into the synergies and we'll get into the cards. Most of the Lair of Darkness I will not explain because you've been on this channel. If not, just go look back at my other videos, because, like, yeah, it's pretty obvious. But for the main deck, we got Triple Lilith, best card in the deck, 2 Alice. You could actually bump this up to 3 because of Branded Fusion. It just Foolish Burials any of your Fiends, so that's pretty good. But yeah, Alice, one of the best, like, support cards for this deck ever, and honestly, one of the most bloated support cards for an archetype ever. Kind of insane. And then we got 1 Malice. It actually has come up because this deck is a lot more grindy than, like, other builds. So it actually does come up a little bit. And there's, like, this near infinite cycle you can do for a while. So I just decided to play this. But it can be a 3rd Alice if you want. And then 1 Tour Guide, 1 Sangan, 1 Skarn because of the ties. And then finally, a card I never thought I would ever play in this deck ever again is actually Diablos. Yeah, I know, the boss monster of the structure deck, but it has had anti-synergy with the deck forever. Like, even early on, like when the structure deck was pretty new, we realized we want to tribute our opponent's stuff. Why does this want to tribute our stuff? It's just, like, very contradictory to what you were trying to do, and over time, as we got, like, more Ladies of Lament and more dark monsters Arima could search, this card was just absolutely useless. But in here, Branded Fusion just sends it from deck to the grave, so you don't even have to search it or go out of your way to get it. So it's just an easy, nice, big old boss monster for OTK, so that's pretty cool. And then Triple Arima, and then Fallen Valbaz. This is actually one of the coolest parts about this version. When I was noticing with, like, the Eldritch builds, or any attempt I was trying to make with it synergizing with anything else, you had to play a lot of branded cards. It wasn't just, like, 1 Albaz, 3 Branded Fusion. You had to commit, like, 3 of the Quick Play Teleport, 2 to 3 of Albur, and all this stuff, and I was like, the whole point of me throwing this in another deck is for it to be super efficient, and it just wasn't doing that. So, when I tested in here, it was pretty funny because the only thing you actually have to play is, like, the deck and Fallon of Albaz and 3 Branded Fusion. You don't need to add anything else to the deck, it's just 4 cards, and it gets you pretty far. And not to mention, Albaz has pretty nice synergy with this deck, because Lair of Darkness turns everything dark, so you could draw it, summon it, toss it to summon Lubellion, my bad. And you just get to play that way. And because Fallon of Albaz goes back in deck, you could activate another Branded Fusion. So that's pretty cool. Then, for the only lights I play is 2 Effect Dealer. I didn't want to add a stupid light that didn't do anything. That's why we're playing this. Then, triple Lair of Darkness, triple Prosperity because this extra deck actually matters, triple Ties, and then triple Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is kind of an insane card. I think the thing that sells it to me most is the fact that it's like the first from deck one that it doesn't require 2 garnets, it only requires 1. And similar to like the Destiny Heroes, its 1 garnet isn't completely useless. So it's actually just really cool. I guess the reason why I wanted to try variants so much. One variant I forgot to mention was Tri-branded, or Branded Tri or whatever. That one's pretty cool, but I felt like there was enough content for it out there. Like, Hypnocorn has, like, a very good, like, less than 2-minute video on it. So, there's enough content for it, so that's fine. And then for the traps, very minimal, just 3 Imperm, 3 Compulse, 3 Torrential, and 3 Back to the Front. Back to the Front is actually very important in this deck. It might not look the part, but one of the interesting things about Mirror Jade, which we haven't seen in a while, is it is a soft once per 2 turns, which I don't think has ever actually been a thing. But it's a soft once per 2 turns. So after you use it, and let's say you torrential the board, you can back to the front the Mirror Jade right back and use it again. This also applies to when you use Mirror Jade and then like tribute it with Lilith or Malice, then you can back to the front it back and then get another banish with it. So that's like really cool. It's a really strong application this deck specifically has with these cards, is that like if you get Super Poly tributed nonsense, you can just back to the front the Mirror Jade, and it made the out kind of meaningless. It's kind of similar to like Branded and Red, but because these are trap cards, you like have a toolbox between all these traps, and it's pretty cool. That's it for the main deck. For the side deck, up to you. The only thing I would mention, which honestly should be in this side deck, is Alice can search Token Collector, so play Token Collector on the side. Even main one if you want, but it's pretty clunky right now, especially with Branded being such a prominent deck. And then the extra deck. These, I think, every option outside of Arclight is pretty much necessity, outside of maybe Access Code as well. I don't really make that. 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Albion, 2 Lubellion, 1 Dragostapelia, and ironically, one of the most important extra deck monsters in this deck specifically is Borreload Furious Dragon. If you don't know what this does, it is DPE light. You can target one monster you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy them as a quick effect. So it's like a very, very light DPE, but it doesn't revive itself, which is like its big downside. But unlike DPE, that requires, you only have 2 ways to fuse into it, not including Verte, and you have to play 2 Destiny Heroes. This one, you can casually make whenever and requires 0 bricks, because you usually do this on the follow-up turn 3, where you Branded Fusion, make Lubellion, and then you recycle an Albion from your graveyard and an Albaz from your graveyard to make it into this, and now you have Mirror Jade and a quick pop, so you have 2 more disruptions. And it's honestly just a very cool card in here. It's pretty decent. I would give it a try in like other versions, but the reason it's so good in here is because it says destroy them after the targets are selected. So that means you can summon this, and let's say you have another monster and Lilith, or even just Lilith in general. You can target the Lilith and their card with Furious, and then one of the quick tributors can chain in response to that. You get a trap, and then you pop their thing for no cost. So that's like a really cool application with this card in the deck. So all around, pretty solid. But also, like, one of the final things, it allows this deck to play with like all 3 Branded Fusions, because it's putting in Albion and Albaz back in your deck in the process of making this. So it's actually, it lets you use literally all 3 Branded Fusions in succession of every single turn if you play this. So very strong card. Arclight, it's kind of a whatever card, but I literally decided to play Valor, and I was like, hey, you know what would be really funny? If I back to the front a Valor and normal summon a level 3 and just make Arclight. And it's come up a lot. It's actually come up quite a few times. Verte, you know what this does. Beat Cop, very important for this deck. It's like it was made for this deck. Unironically, it was a Shonen Jump promo in Japan that was made for this deck. And yeah, and fun little lore fact, if you look at both Tour Guide and Beat Cop, they both have a red line on their outfit that you can also find on every single Lady of Lament. So if you're wondering if you should play these two in Lair of Darkness, the answer is yes, because of their outfits. Cool little, not really lore explanation. And we got one Dark, excellent card. Unicorn, usually make with Dark, but you can do it sometimes, and it just spins a card. Decode Target Extended is actually a better OTK enabler in this deck than Access Code is, because it gets buffs like Decode for everything it points to, but when anything points to it leaves for any reason, like Tributing, it gets a bonus attack, so it just enables a lot of OTKs for this deck. And then Access Code. I've never made this and probably never will, but it's emotional support. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. I could get some replays because this deck is pretty nice. I was actually struggling with Lair of Darkness this format, and it wasn't because of the hand traps, because this deck is a trap deck and it ignores hand traps. It was actually like due to the fact that we were in a format where Baron, Guardian Chimera, like setting traps was nearly impossible. And the deck just couldn't work in that kind of environment, but whenever you can force a branded fusion or extra interactions before actually setting your traps, it actually helps with that a lot. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Interflex will take your soul.